I'm Victoria, and I'm going to be going over problem number 2. Here are the chromosomes given for individual 1. Before we are able to perform our crossover, we must first look for any chromosomal aberrations. As we can see, the regions I, J, K, and L are inverted on chromosome 2. This is a pericentric inversion because it involves the centromere. In order to make up for the inversion, a loop is formed to optimize pairing in our crossover. We will now perform a crossover between regions J and K. There will be one chromatid on each chromosome that is not involved in the crossover. These chromosomes are indicated with arrows. The crossover between regions J and K is illustrated with the green and red pathways shown on the image. These are the 4 gametes produced, and now we must assess which ones are viable. When assessing if a gamete is viable, I like to think of baking a cake because if you don't have all the ingredients necessary or repeat any ingredient, you won't make a cake. Likewise, if you are missing or repeating any regions on the chromosome, you will not have a viable gamete. The 2 non-recombinant gametes are viable because they contain all of the original regions found on the chromosomes. However, the 2 recombinant gametes are not viable because they have missing regions and some repeated regions. For example, the first recombinant gamete shown on this slide is repeating region M and missing regions G and H. And the second recombinant gamete shown is repeating regions G and H and missing region M. So the 2 recombinant gametes are not viable. For individual 2, here are the chromosomes given. Notice that the order of the regions on the chromosomes are the same, so there are no aberrations. Since there are no aberrations on the chromosome, no loop is necessary for a crossover between regions J and K. Just like we saw on the previous crossover, there are 2 non-recombinant and 2 recombinant gametes. All the gametes produced are viable because they contain all of the original chromosomal regions. When assessing if there is a difference in fitness between individual 1 and 2, we must look at the number of viable gametes. Individual 1 had 2 out of the 4 gametes produced in meiosis as viable. For individual 2, all 4 of the gametes produced in meiosis were viable. This shows that individual 2 had a greater fitness than individual 1, since they had no chromosomal aberrations.